So the Lamborghini movie, should you see it? Let's find out. So today's video is a little bit different than my typical videos because I'm going to review a movie. Well, it's a movie about cars, of course. It's the Lamborghini movie that just came out about 4 days ago at the time that I'm recording this. So the movie is the first sort of car movie to be released since Ford versus Ferrari, which was a movie that I really liked. So the question is whether this one lives up to that type of movie. Well, it's got a lot to live up to, that's for sure. So I did want to just kind of review my thoughts about the movie, and if you've seen the movie yourself, definitely let me know in the comments if I'm completely off or if I'm onto something. Let me know, because you know, I don't really review movies for a living, so I may be completely off. But I'll start with the cinematography of the movie. So the movie is really 3 acts. So the first act is just after World War II. He had just Feruccio Lamborghini just left the army, and it was really a story. This is the part of the story where he's sort of falling in love. It takes place in you know, the rural Italy. So from that standpoint of, you can hardly imagine a more beautiful place to have a movie, to set a movie in. And so just an interesting time and place, and I like the way that it transports you there. An interesting thing that I noticed about the movie, and a lot of movies are doing this now, is that because it is shot in digital, it's shot in extremely high def, and it's also shot at like something like 60 frames per second. Now, why is that important? Because typically, those of us who've watched movies our whole life on 35mm film, the typical standard movie, we're used to cinematic films being a certain way. There's a paradox in that new movies that are shot in digital with a lot of frames per second in very, very high definition, that, to me at least, kind of look fake. It's a paradox. In other words, the movie, because it is such high definition and it's so many frames per second, it's so realistic that it looks fake, if that makes any sense. And I expect a film to be more cinematic. So that's just an interesting observation. In terms of the other aspects of the cinematography, I noticed that some of the factory sequences, the factory seemed a little bit too clean to me. Like if it was a working, running factory, you would expect it to have a lot more grime. So that struck me as being a little bit strange, but definitely visually interesting and well lit. In terms of the acting, Frank Grillo played the older Feruccio Lamborghini, and he did a very passionate performance. Gabriel Byrne played Enzo Ferrari. Interesting note, the amount of lines that he has in the movie, Gabriel Byrne, is not much more than what's shown on the theatrical trailer. So basically, he actually did not have a very big role in the film. Mira Sorvino, who's another famous actor, does actually have a big role in the film, and she plays his second wife, Feruccio Lamborghini's second wife. In terms of historical inaccuracies, or accuracies/inaccuracies, in the beginning there's a racing scene, which you could see a little bit of it in the trailer. The speed that the cars are going is incredibly slow. It's impossible not to notice. But the cars, which I think they came like right out of the Lamborghini factory. They must have just like borrowed the cars, because they are real. They're not replicas, but they're going quite slowly. They don't even appear to be really racing. So I thought that was a little bit disappointing. It lacks a little bit of realism when you could see that they're not really racing. Another historical inaccuracy. The snub itself between Feruccio and Enzo Ferrari, the famous snub that caused him to start the company in the first place, the car company, did not happen as it is portrayed in the movie. Now, the reason is probably because of dramatic effect. I'm all about dramatic license. If you can make the story move forward a little bit more and you lose a little bit of accuracy, that's fine. I have no problem with that. I'm all for it. But in terms of other historical inaccuracies, Feruccio Lamborghini did not design the Miura, and he did not even design the layout for the Miura. That was not his idea. It was Bob Wallace and Paolo Stanzani and Dallara, Gianpaolo Dallara, who was actually the brains behind the architecture of the Lamborghini Miura. And then, of course, the actual the car was penned in a hurry by Marcello Gandini, who is not even mentioned in the movie, which is really astonishing because Gandini is really, if it weren't for Gandini, Lamborghini wouldn't be what it is today. So it's one thing to change the story a little bit to make it dramatic. It's another thing to give the wrong person credit. So I find that that was pretty disappointing. In terms of editing, another disappointment in the movie was the way that that it was edited. I don't know what it is about Hollywood, but they often get car sounds wrong. I don't know why they do, if it's just laziness or they don't care. But I, for one, can tell the difference between a Ford V8 and a Chevy V8. I can tell the difference between a Jag V12, a Lamborghini V12, or a Ferrari V12. So there's nothing particularly unique about that skill. I'd say probably 80% of the people who watch this have that same skill. So the fact that they don't get that right, there was more than one occasion where they had the wrong engine sound to the car, and I find that to be just a little bit inexcusable. Other aspects of the movie that I actually did like was the writing. It was well written. They did not dumb down the film. This is by no means an art film. You know, you're not gonna go there to see some sort of art house film. And well, that's actually really good, because who wants to see that, right? But in terms of the actual the story, it's well written. It flows. The dialogue is good. It's not too overly explainy, where they in a fake way kind of over explain things. And then in terms of the sort of drama, it worked really well in my view. So at the end of the day, is this a movie that you should see? I would say absolutely. Is it on the same level as a Ford versus Ferrari? Absolutely not. I mean, this probably had a fraction of the budget. It's not even in the same league as a movie like that. But movies like this are indulgence, and just like the cars themselves, just like exotic cars themselves, they're a complete indulgence. And so we don't really expect them to be too artsy, and we don't expect them to be life-changing. It's really just a good laugh, and that's what this movie's all about. Is it worth the $7? Absolutely. So that's what you get on this channel. Anything and everything, as long as it has to do with cars, even a movie review. We have more things coming up on the channel. Maybe even a new car coming along, possibly. So like and subscribe and keep commenting. Did you see this movie? If you saw this movie, definitely let me know what you thought about it, because maybe I'm way off. I'm not a professional movie critic by any means, so who knows? Maybe I got the wrong idea about everything. But definitely keep subscribing, keep commenting. You guys always make great comments for me, and I appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video.